Good morning, everyone. Again, very happy to be here again, 1 year later, right? The same event. Some exciting news that I want to discuss with you guys today. We don't have a lot of time, but I trust you can read fast. We have some forward-looking statements as usual, so very conventional. And I would like just to start by giving you guys a little bit of an update, or for the ones that don't know us, where Agnico operates and what is our footprint and a bit of a strategy that we have. We've been following this strategy for quite some time now, and it's working for us, which is to consistently work in stable jurisdictions with high exploration potential. So we're talking about the Abitibi region. So we have our mines in northern Quebec. We have our mines now here in northern Ontario. Finland, Australia, and Mexico are the other platforms that we operated. And in Canada, we also have a Nunavut. So we are now the third largest gold producer in the world. We're producing 3.45 million ounces a year, very competitive cash cost and strong mineral reserve base. From a growth perspective, here in Ontario is our biggest platform today. We're looking at Detour underground, we're looking at Upper Beaver and Raman Reef, like at the later stage. We're going to be in this mid of the year issuing an update on Detour underground and Upper Beaver. So it's coming shortly. So we have some exciting news about those two projects. Again, we've been, with that strategy, Agnico Eagle has been able to generate significant value. Here you have on the table here on the right, you can see our share price performance in relation to the index. This first quarter in 2024, we became the biggest mining company by market cap in Canada. So we surpassed Barrick, Nutrient, and Teck. So right now we're the biggest one. And this strategy has been working with us with this idea of always focusing on the geology and where we see potential. From a footprint in Canada, you can see on your right here, we are the biggest gold producer in Canada, I would say by far. We employ a significant amount of our workforce here in Northern Ontario. Again, very Northern Ontario focus. 80% of our production is in Canada from gold perspective, from Agnico. And Northern Ontario represents about 40% of our NAV, our net asset value. So Northern Ontario is instrumental for Agnico current production, but also the growth potential that we have. From a reserves perspective, Detour represents the biggest reserve in Agnico assets, with close to 20 million reserve. From an economic footprint, again, in Ontario only, we have about 4,000 employees and contractors. We've been significantly investing in exploration, both at Detour and at Macassa. Detour, since 2020, we launched a significant exploration campaign to better delineate the ore body to the west and to define the exploration potential from an underground perspective. And I'll briefly discuss this today, but we've been obtaining very, very good results. And the intent is this year to potentially move towards an exploration ramp to better delineate the ore body. Again, $1.4 billion spent on goods and service every year here in Northern Ontario, most of it staying in Northern Ontario. $5.7 billion in community donations and sponsorships. So we're focusing a lot in becoming the preferred employer in Northern Ontario, the preferred partner from a First Nations perspective, from a government perspective, from a community's perspective. We have 11 agreements with Indigenous First Nations. We've been working really hard with this growth plan that we're working towards to ensure that the sustainability of our business and the First Nations community's relationships is I would say, instrumental for us to achieve our targets, and about $560 million in wages and benefits every year, most of it staying here in Northern Ontario. So as you see, we have a strong focus in Northern Ontario. The view here is to continue growing that portfolio basis here. And the major one, the flagstone operation we have is Detour. Detour Lake Mine, for the ones that don't know, it's currently the largest gold producer in Canada. We're producing around 700,000 ounces a year. It's an operation that is going to be in operation for over 30 years, with potential to grow that life of mine with the exploration potential that we are observing. Detour currently employs over 1,500 people, jobs, highly paying jobs here in Northern Ontario. It is a drive-in, drive-out, fly-in, fly-out operation, but a lot of our employment stays in Northern Ontario. Around like 85% is Northern Ontario. The mill, we will talk a little bit about the mill, the history, the journey that we've been going through at Detour. Detour, we were able to move Detour from a 600,000 ounce producer to a 700,000 ounce producer with a relatively small investment. With a lot of work done in optimizing drill and blast, optimizing how we choke feed the crusher, optimizing the milling operations. That initial phase brought us from around 22 million tons a year of ore. Again, it's a high volume, low grade, low cost operation. So that's our DNA, and we work really hard to remain true to it. That optimization now brought us to a level close to 28 million tons a year. We're at that level of milling rates. By the end of the year, we should be stable there. And we see the potential to grow that even further. So a lot of this has been done with mill optimization, the optimization of the asset we have on hand, and also mine-to-mill optimizations. Beyond that, we see potential to grow even further the milling capacity at Detour. And the benefit that Detour has is that we are constrained by the mill. So currently we have a lot of ore being stockpiled, so it's not going to be a situation where we're constrained by the mine. So with the underground potential that we see at Detour, so as I was mentioning before, since 2020 we've been focusing a lot to better delineate the potential, both from the expansion of the pit to the west and underground operation at Detour. We see with the results of the drilling that we got to date that there is potential for underground mine there. The next phase now for us, it will be to better understand the ore body, and that would include the exploration ramp. That exploration ramp, our plans is to start it within late this year, early next year, pending board approval. And as I was mentioning, we're going to be issuing by mid of the year an update to the market on what the economics of that, like I say, I would say a snapshot in time of what that deposit could be. Now, we continue seeing upside to the west, so that snapshot in time doesn't fully capture the potential of Detour. Now, what the underground mine does for us is puts Detour in a very unique class of assets. That asset now would be producing 1 million ounces a year. So there's very few mines in the world that can produce 1 million ounces a year for a very significant amount of time. And this will put Detour at that type of asset. We would start to produce, in the latest estimate, that we would be producing around 2031 to close to 2042 million, over 1 million ounces a year at Detour. So this is a significant expansion and optionality from a gold price perspective here. And it's not really capturing the full potential of Detour. I personally don't believe that we fully capture yet. So there is still ongoing exploration at Detour. I didn't touch much the other assets for constraining time, to give you guys time for questions or for us to have a conversation. But overall, like Macassa continues to perform. We're seeing strong results as well from an exploration perspective in Macassa. Macassa is a mine that's been in operation for several decades. Our vision that's going to continue for 7 decades more. And then Upper Beaver is another deposit that we are in later stages on an exploration phase, which would include an exploration shaft. That probably will be, the announcement will be also mid of the year. We started the site preparation this year, so there's some already work being ongoing at Upper Beaver. And the company, it's been focusing a lot on this growth in Northern Ontario, as you can see here. So our vested interest in developing Northern Ontario, our vested interest in partnering with all the ecosystem of mining in Northern Ontario to make sure that we can realize all the potential we have up here. So with that, I thank you all for attending this and maybe open for questions.